The warship Valor moved steadily through the dark emptiness of space. Commander Neil stood on the bridge, watching the vast stars ahead. His face was calm, but inside, his mind was full of questions. The Valor was a human warship, part of Earth's fleet sent to explore distant star systems. They had orders to avoid any conflict. But now they were crossing into a known combat zone. The combat zone was a dangerous place. Two alien civilizations, the Threx and the Velar, had been fighting. There for many years, their warships fought fiercely, and many ships had been destroyed. The Valor was not part of this war, but somehow it had crossed the invisible border into the area. Neil looked at the map on the main screen. Red and blue dots showed the positions of enemy ships. The Valor was inside the red and blue lines. The ship's sensors detected no immediate threat, but they knew it was only a matter of time. "Commander," said Leah, the communications officer, "I am picking up signals from multiple ships nearby. The Threx and Velar are aware of us." Neil nodded. "Open a channel. Let's see what they want." Leah worked quickly. The screen filled with alien symbols and strange sounds. Then a voice came through. It was rough but clear. "This is Captain Zarn of the Threx fleet. Identify yourself and explain your presence in our zone." Neil stepped forward. He spoke slowly and clearly. "I am Commander Neil of the human warship Valor. We come in peace. Our mission is exploration, not war." There was silence. Then Zarn's voice came again. "Humans, we have not seen your kind here before. Why have you crossed into the combat zone?" Neil felt the weight of the question. It was not intentional. "Our navigation systems malfunctioned during the last jump. We are correcting our course now." Zarn's voice was cold. "This zone is dangerous. You should leave immediately." Neil looked at his crew. Some were tense. The soldiers prepared their weapons just in case. But Neil knew fighting was not the answer. "Captain Zarn, we mean no harm. If you allow, we will leave at once." The reply was slow. "We will observe you. Do not try anything foolish." The channel closed. The Valor was now under watch by both sides. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Leah spoke softly. "Commander, the Velar fleet is also scanning us. They have not contacted us yet." Neil nodded. "Keep monitoring all signals. I want to know everything about their movements." The crew worked silently. The tension was high, but the humans remained calm. They had trained for situations like this. Suddenly, the sensors showed a large ship approaching. The Valor's alarm sounded briefly. "Unknown ship approaching fast," said the tactical officer. Neil leaned forward, raised shields, and prepared to communicate. The new ship came closer. It was large and covered with armor. Strange symbols glowed on its side. A new voice came through the channel. It was deeper and softer than Zarn's. "This is Captain Velar of the Velar fleet. You are in a war zone. Explain your presence." Neil replied. "Commander Neil of the human warship Valor. We mean no harm. We request safe passage to leave this area." The Velar captain's voice was skeptical. "Humans are unknown here. You may be a threat. We will escort you out, but do not try to escape." Neil felt the weight of being caught between two enemies. The Valor was not built for a full war, but the humans had skill and courage. "Understood. We will cooperate." The Velar ship stayed close as the Valor moved slowly out of the combat zone. The tension did not leave the bridge. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. "Multiple ships detected. They are launching weapons." The tactical officer shouted, "Enemy attack. Shields at 50%. Neil stood quickly. "Raise shields to maximum. Prepare to defend." The Valor shook as weapons fired. Bright beams of energy hit the ship's shields, causing them to flicker. The crew worked fast, adjusting the shields and preparing countermeasures. "Commander, this is not a normal attack," said Leah. "The ships are firing randomly. Maybe they are confused by our presence." Neil nodded. "Keep calm. Focus on defense. We will not start a fight, but we will protect ourselves." The Valor moved swiftly, using its speed and small size to avoid heavy fire. The humans used tactics learned from their history of space battles. After several tense minutes, The weapons stopped. The attackers disappeared as quickly as they came. The bridge was silent. The crew breathed deeply, relieved but alert. Neil spoke calmly. "Report damage." "Minor shield damage. No hull breach," replied the tactical officer. Neil looked at the screen again. "We are lucky this time. But the combat zone is dangerous. We must get out soon." Leah checked the communications channels. "Captain, Zorn is requesting to speak." Neil opened the channel. "Go ahead." Zorn's voice was different now, less cold and more curious. "You survived the attack. How did you do it? Humans are strange." Neil smiled slightly. "We use skill and teamwork. We do not rely on power alone." Zorn paused. "Perhaps your kind is different from what we expected. We will watch you closely." The channel closed again. The humans prepared to move faster. As the Valor left the combat zone, Neil stood alone for a moment. The stars outside were calm again. He thought about what had happened. The humans had entered a war they did not want, but their courage and skill had made a mark, Neil believed. This was only the beginning of a greater story. The Valor sailed onward, ready for what lay ahead. The Valor moved slowly away from the combat zone, but Commander Neil knew their journey was far from over. The alien fleet's Threx and Valor still watched them carefully. The unexpected presence of humans had made both sides curious and cautious. Neil stood on the bridge, studying the star map. Red and blue dots marked the enemy's ships, but none were chasing them now. Leah, the communications officer, was busy scanning all signals. "Commander," Leah said quietly, "I am still receiving messages from both the Threx and the Valor. They want to communicate." Neil nodded. "Open the channels. Let's talk." To them, "We need to understand their intentions better." Leah opened the first channel. The screen filled with symbols, and then Captain Zorn of the Threx appeared. His face was stern and sharp. "We watched you defend your ship," Zorn said. "Humans fight differently from us. You are not like the others." Neil replied calmly. "We fight to protect, not to destroy. Our technology is advanced, but we use it with care. We do not want to join your war." Zorn studied Neil's face for a moment. "Why did you come here?" "To the heart of our war. It was a mistake," Neil answered. "Our navigation systems failed. We only wanted to explore. But now we see. Your battle is very serious." Zorn's eyes narrowed. "The Valor say the same about you. They do not trust humans either." Before Neil could reply, the screen changed. Captain Valor appeared. His features were smooth and calm. "You claim peace," Valor said, "but your weapons are powerful. We fear your kind could tip the balance in this war." Neil understood their fear. Humans were unknown to these aliens, and unknown things often cause fear. "We do not want war," Neil said firmly. "We want to leave this zone without trouble." Valor looked at Neil for a long moment. "You are brave to enter this war zone. Few dare to do so." Neil thought about this. Humans had always been curious and brave. Sometimes that led them into danger. "Tell me," Neil asked, "what started this war between your peoples?" Zorn and Valor looked at each other on their separate screens. Zorn spoke first. "Our worlds have fought for resources for many years. We cannot agree on how to share." Valor nodded. "Both sides have lost much. The war has lasted too long." Neil felt a deep sadness. He wished the aliens could find peace. Humans had fought many wars on Earth but had learned that war brings only pain. "Is there no way to stop this fighting?" Neil asked. Zorn shook his head. "Not yet. Both sides fear weakness." Valor added, "Trust is hard to find in war." Neil looked at his crew. "We should offer help. Maybe humans can bring new ideas." Leah smiled slightly. "That will be risky, Commander." Neil agreed. "Yes, but we must try." Suddenly, the ship's alarm sounded. Incoming message from an unknown source, Leah said. Neil opened the channel. A new face appeared. It was a young Valor officer. "I'm Lieutenant Nara," she said. "I want to speak to the humans. I do not agree with this endless war." Neil felt hope. "We welcome you, Lieutenant. What do you wish to say?" Nara's eyes were serious. "There are many who want peace, but the leaders refuse to listen. We need new voices." Perhaps your people can help. Neil nodded. We will do what we can. Humans believe in peace and cooperation. The Valor's crew began sharing ideas with Nara. They talked about ways to communicate better, to build trust, and to find solutions without fighting. Meanwhile, Neil asked Leah to scan for any unusual activity. Commander, Leah said, I am detecting a large fleet gathering near the edge of the combat zone. It looks like the Threx and Velar are preparing for a new battle. Neil's face tightened. They are not ready for peace yet. He gathered his officers. We must be ready. If war breaks out again, the Valor will protect itself and anyone near us. The crew prepared the ship for possible combat. Weapons were checked, shields boosted, and defensive systems tested. At the same time, Neil tried to use his new contact with Nara to find a way to prevent the battle. He sent messages offering to mediate talks between the two sides. Days passed. Slowly, the tension in space grew like a heavy cloud. One evening, as Neil looked out at the stars, Leah spoke. Commander, I have a message from Nara. She says some leaders might agree to talks if humans help. Neil smiled. This is a chance. Prepare a message proposing a peace meeting. Leah sent the message. Hours later, the answer came. The Threx and Velar agreed to meet. They will allow humans to join. The crew of the Valor felt a mix of relief and worry. The meeting could change everything. The meeting was set on a neutral space station in the middle of the combat zone. Neil and his officers prepared carefully. They did not know if the aliens would trust them or if the meeting would fail. When they arrived, the Threx and Velar leaders were waiting. The room was tense. Neil spoke first. We come as friends. Humans do not want to fight your war. We believe there is a better way. Zarn and Velar looked at each other, then at Neil. Zar and said, Your people have shown courage. Maybe you can help us find peace. Velar added, We will listen to your words. The talks were slow but hopeful. Neil explained how humans had learned from war and worked for peace. The alien leaders shared their fears and needs. Nara supported the humans' words. She said, Peace is possible if we trust each other. As the meeting continued, the Valor crew felt a new sense of purpose. They had crossed into a dangerous zone, but now they might bring light where there was only darkness. The future was uncertain, but hope had entered the combat zone. The peace talks on the neutral space station moved slowly, but Commander Neil felt a small hope growing inside him. For the first time in many years, the leaders of the Threx and Velar were willing to listen to each other. The humans were outsiders in this conflict, but their presence brought something new. A chance for change. Neil stood beside Leah in the meeting room. The room was large and bright, with windows showing stars far away. Around the table sat Captain Zarn, Commander Velar, and their advisors. The air was tense, but calm. Zarn spoke first. Your people have great courage to enter this war zone. We see your ships survive battles no one else can. But peace requires more than courage. It needs trust. Neil nodded. We understand. On Earth, we have fought many wars, but we have learned that trust is the key to lasting peace. Velar added, Humans have technology we do not understand. How can we be sure you will not use it to control us? Neil smiled gently. Technology is only as good as the heart behind it. We want cooperation, not control. We believe in freedom for all. A young Velar advisor leaned forward. Your words are wise, but the wounds of war run deep. Many have lost family and homes. It will take time, Neil agreed. We do not expect change overnight, but small steps can lead to great progress. The talks continued for hours. The human crew shared ideas about building trust, such as shared patrols to protect civilians and opening communication lines between the fleets. Lieutenant Nara was a strong supporter of these ideas. She said, If we work together, we can protect our people and stop the killing. The leaders nodded, but some looked uncertain. Old fears were hard to forget. After the meeting, Neil returned to the Valor. The crew was ready to continue their mission, but Neil felt they were now part of something bigger. Suddenly, the ship's sensors showed movement near the edge of the combat zone. A small fleet of Velar ships was attacking a group of Threx transports carrying supplies. Neil frowned. The war is not over yet. We must act. He gathered his officers. We will try to help. Our mission is to protect life, no matter whose it is. The Valor moved quickly. Its weapons were powerful but precise. The crew aimed to stop the battle without destroying too much as they approached. The Valor fired warning shots near the attacking ships. The Valor captains hesitated. Leah sent a message to the Valor fleet. This is Commander Neil of the human warship Valor. Stop the attack. We seek peace. The Valor commander replied, surprised. Humans, why do you interfere? Neil answered. Because no life should be lost when peace is possible. The Valor ships pulled back slowly. The transports were safe. The Threx commander contacted the Valor. Your help saved us. Humans are strange, but we thank you. Neil smiled. We want to help both sides. The war hurts everyone. The crew of the Valor felt proud. They had taken a small step toward peace. Over the next days, the humans and aliens worked together. The Valor escorted convoys through dangerous areas. Humans taught the aliens better ways to communicate and planned. Zar visited the Valor one day. He shook Neil's hand. Your people have strength and wisdom. You bring hope where there was none. Neil replied, Thank you, Captain. We must keep trying. But peace was fragile. Not all wanted it. Some leaders on both sides planned new attacks to gain power. Neil and his crew learned that war was not just about ships and weapons. It was about fear, pride, and old grudges. One evening, Leah found a secret message. Commander, I intercepted a plan. Some Threx leaders want to attack the Valor during the next meeting. Neil's face grew serious. We must warn Valor and try to stop it. He sent a message to Valor leaders, and Lieutenant Nara. Nara replied quickly, Thank you. We will prepare. The next meeting was tense. Both sides watched each other closely. The humans acted as observers and peacekeepers. Suddenly, alarms sounded. Some ships outside the station were moving aggressively. Neil ordered, Raise shields and prepare defenses. This could be the attack. The station shook as weapons fired nearby. The humans worked with alien forces to protect the meeting. Neil used human tactics to defend the station. His crew moved the Valor through enemy fire, blocking attacks and helping alien ships. The battle was fierce but short. The attackers were pushed back. After the fight, the leaders agreed to increase security and continue talks more carefully. Neil felt hope again. Even in danger, peace was possible. The Valor stayed near the combat zone, ready to help where needed. Commander Neil looked at the stars from the bridge. The war was far from over, but humanity's courage and wisdom were making a difference. The journey to peace was long, but they had taken the first steps together. The calm that followed the battle was fragile. Commander Neil knew this peace could break at any moment. The Threx and Valor had fought for many years, and old anger did not disappear easily. Yet, something was different now. Humans were in the middle of their war, offering help and hope. On the bridge of the Valor, Neil stood with his officers. The star map showed the combat zone, dotted with enemy ships still on alert. Leah worked on the communications console, monitoring messages from both alien fleets. Commander, Leah said, both sides are increasing their fleets near the border. It looks like a big attack is coming soon. Neil frowned. We warned them this could happen. Now we must be ready, he called his officers together in the strategy room. The Threx and Valor forces are preparing for a massive strike. This attack could destroy many ships and civilians. We have two choices. We can try to stop it or let it happen and hope the war ends soon. The room was quiet. Everyone understood the risks. Neil continued, We cannot stand by and watch innocent lives be lost. We will act. We must convince the leaders to stop the attack. If they refuse, we will protect what we can. Leah looked worried. Commander, do you think the aliens will listen? Neil nodded. We have made progress, but it is not enough. They fear losing power. We must show them a better way. The Valor sent messages to Captain Zarn and Commander Veller, proposing a meeting to discuss stopping the attack. To Neil's surprise, both responded quickly and agreed. The meeting took place near a small moon in the combat zone. The Valor moved carefully, escorted by a few Threx and Velar ships. The tension was thick. When the leaders arrived, Neil spoke clearly. The attack plan will bring death too many. There is another way. If you work together, you can protect your people without more bloodshed. Zarn's voice was harsh. Our enemies cannot be trusted. If we do not strike now, we may lose everything, Velar replied. But war brings only pain. Perhaps the humans are right. We should try peace. The leaders argued, their voices rising. Old wounds and fears came back. Neil stepped forward. I understand your fears. Humans have also faced such dangers. But we learned that cooperation is stronger than conflict. He shared stories from Earth's history, how old enemies became friends by choosing peace. The alien leaders listened quietly. Suddenly, the message alarm sounded. Leah looked at the screen. Commander, a third fleet is entering the combat zone. Neil's eyes widened. Who? Leah replied, an unknown fleet. Their ships do not match Threx or Velar designs. Neil called the bridge. Prepare for contact with this new fleet. We do not know their intentions. The unknown fleet came closer. Their ships were large and heavily armed. They made no move to attack. Neil opened a channel. This is Commander Neil of the human warship Valor. Identify yourselves. A new voice responded. It was calm and firm. We are the Khorne. We monitor conflicts in this sector. We will not tolerate uncontrolled war near our borders. Zarn and Velar leaders exchanged uneasy glances. The Khorne commander continued. Your fighting risks drawing us into your war. We demand a ceasefire. Immediately, Neil saw an opportunity. Khorne, we are working to stop the war. Your presence shows the need for peace. The Khorne captain replied, we will stay and observe. Any violation of ceasefire will be met with force. The meeting shifted. Now the Threx and Velar leaders faced a new threat from the Khorne. Neil realized that this could push the alien factions to agree to peace to avoid another enemy. He suggested, perhaps the Khorne can help us monitor the ceasefire and keep both sides honest. Zarn and Velar considered this. Slowly, they nodded. The leaders agreed to a temporary ceasefire, watched by humans and Khorne forces. The Valor crew worked hard, coordinating patrols and communication between fleets. One night, Neil walked the corridors of the Valor. He met Leah and smiled. We are making progress, but the real test is ahead. Leah nodded. The war is not over. But now there is hope. Suddenly, the ship's alarm sounded. Incoming unknown vessel. The tactical officer said. The ship shook slightly as weapons fired nearby. Neil shouted, raise shields. Prepare to defend. The Valor moved quickly, evading attacks. The Khorne fleet arrived. Joining the fight, the combined forces pushed back the attackers. After the battle, Neil sent a message to Zarn and Velar. We survived together. Let us keep this peace. The alien leaders replied with cautious agreement. Days later, the Valor stood near the combat zone, a symbol of hope and strength. Commander Neil looked at the stars, knowing the road to peace was long but now visible. The calm after the ceasefire felt like a quiet moment before a storm. Commander Neil knew the fragile peace could break any time. But for now, the Valor and its crew focused on protecting the combat zone and helping both the Threx and Velar. The humans worked with the Khorne fleet to patrol the borders. Their goal was to stop small attacks and keep the peace talks alive. The Valor moved quickly, using its speed and advanced sensors to spot threats early. One morning, Neil gathered his officers on the bridge. Reports say some groups are unhappy with the ceasefire. They want to fight again. Leah nodded. There are rebels in both fleets. They believe war is the only way to win. Neil sighed. We must be ready. Our mission is to protect lives and support peace. Suddenly, the tactical officer shouted, incoming enemy fighters. They are attacking a supply convoy. Neil ordered, raise shields and prepare weapons. Protect the convoy at all costs. The Valor raced to the convoys. Location enemy fighters swarmed, firing lasers and missiles. The Valor moved with skill, dodging attacks and firing back to defend. The humans used tactics the aliens did not expect. Small teams moved quickly and used the terrain of space to their advantage. The Velar and Threx ships joined the fight, defending the convoy. Together, they pushed back the attackers. After the battle, Neil contacted the convoy leader. "Is everyone safe?" The leader replied, "Yes. Thanks to the Valor and your help." Neil felt proud. The humans were earning trust from both sides. Later, Neil met with Captain Zarn and Commander Velar in a secure space station. The talks were tense but hopeful. Zarn said, "Your people fight with honor. You saved many lives today." Velar added, "Perhaps humans are the key to ending this war." Neil replied, "We are glad to help. But peace needs more than battles won. It needs trust and understanding." Leah showed Neil a message. "Commander, Lieutenant Nara sent a warning. Some rebels plan to sabotage the next peace meeting." Neil's face grew serious. "We must stop them. Prepare the Valor for a quick response." The peace meeting was held in a large station orbiting a nearby star. Leaders from both sides arrived, guarded by human and Corn forces. Neil and his crew stayed alert. The atmosphere was heavy with tension. Suddenly, explosions shook the station. Saboteurs had attacked power systems. Neil ordered, "Deploy security teams. Find the attackers." The humans and aliens worked together to find the saboteurs. The Valor scanned for ships trying to flee. Leah found one escaping in a small craft. "Commander, I have a target." Neil nodded. "Intercept and stop them." The Valor chased the saboteur through asteroid fields and debris. Using careful maneuvers, they disabled the craft without harm. The saboteur was captured and brought to the station for questioning. The attack had shaken everyone, but the meeting continued. Leaders spoke about the need for stronger cooperation and trust. Neil reminded them, "Peace is fragile, but worth protecting. We must stand together." The talks ended with plans for joint patrols and shared resources to help rebuild damaged areas. The Valor crew felt hopeful, but new challenges remained. One day, Neil walked on the ship's deck. Watching stars pass by, he thought about humanity's place in the galaxy. Humans were new and unknown, but their courage and will to help had changed the course of the war. Leah joined him. "Commander, do you think peace will last?" Neil smiled. "It will take time, but every step forward matters. We will keep fighting for it." Suddenly, alarms blared. Enemy fleet detected. Large ships approaching fast, the tactical officer said. Neil's eyes narrowed. "Prepare for battle. This may be the biggest fight yet." The Valor and allied ships moved to intercept the enemy. The battle was fierce. Enemy weapons hit hard, but the humans and their allies fought with determination. Neil led daring strikes, using human tactics that surprised the enemy, despite heavy fire. The Valor stayed strong. After hours of fighting, the enemy retreated. The cost was high, but the victory kept hope alive. As the stars settled into quiet again, Neil looked at his crew. "We survived because we stood together. We will continue to fight for peace." The war was not over, but humanity had proven it could make a difference. The battle left scars on the Valor and its crew. Commander Neil stood on the bridge, watching the stars drift by. The silence was heavy, but inside him, the fight was far from over. The war between the Threx and Valor was still raging, and the fragile peace was tested every day. The Valor's shields and hull had taken damage, but the crew worked fast to repair the ship. The human engineers moved through the corridors with quiet determination. Every small repair was a step toward survival. Leah joined Neil on the bridge. "Commander, we have reports of new attacks near the border. Rebels are trying to break the ceasefire." Neil nodded. "We expected this. The road to peace is never easy." He gathered his officers in the strategy room. "The rebels want to destroy what we have built. We must stop them." The officers studied the maps. Small groups of fighters moved quickly, striking supply lines and communication posts. Neil said, "Our mission is to protect civilians and keep the peace. We will send patrols with human crews and alien allies." The plan was simple but risky. The Valor and several smaller ships would patrol the dangerous areas. They would show strength but avoid unnecessary violence. As the patrols began, the humans saw the cost of war up close. They found ruined stations, abandoned ships, and frightened survivors. One day, the Valor detected a distress signal. Neil ordered the ship to investigate. They found a small group of Threx refugees trapped on a damaged station. The station's life support was failing. Neil said, "Prepare rescue teams. We cannot leave them to die." The crew worked quickly to bring the refugees aboard. They were tired and scared but grateful. Neil spoke to their leader. "You are safe now. We will protect you." The refugees told stories of battles and loss. Their words reminded Neil why the fight for peace was so important. The Valor continued patrols, stopping small attacks and helping wherever they could. The humans' actions inspired hope among the aliens. Captain Zarn sent a message. "Your people's bravery is changing minds. We will work harder for peace." Commander Veller agreed. "Humans show us a better way." Neil smiled but remained cautious. Peace is fragile. We must keep working. One night, Leah found a hidden message. It was from rebel leaders planning a surprise attack on a peace convoy. Neil acted quickly. "We must warn the convoy and prepare defenses." The Valor raced to intercept the convoy. Enemy ships waited in ambush, ready to strike. The battle was intense. The Valor and its allies fought with skill and courage. The humans used their knowledge of the enemy's tactics to outmaneuver them. After a fierce fight, the rebels were pushed back. The convoy was safe. Neil contacted the convoy leader. "You are safe. We will continue to protect you." The leader replied, "Thanks to you and your crew." The victory lifted spirits, but Neil knew the war was not over. Days later, the peace talks resumed. This time, the leaders seemed more willing to listen. Neil spoke about the courage of the humans and the hope they brought. He said, "War leaves scars, but peace builds bridges. We must choose to build." The leaders nodded, some with tears in their eyes. Lieutenant Nara stood beside Neil. "Your people have changed our future." Neil looked at the stars. The journey was long and hard, but now, hope was stronger than fear. The Valor prepared to leave the combat zone soon. Neil gathered his crew. "We have done well, but our mission continues. Peace is not the end, but a new beginning." The crew cheered softly. They were ready for whatever came next. As the Valor sailed away from the combat zone, Neil knew humanity's story was just beginning. The stars awaited, full of challenges and chances for courage. The Valor moved steadily away from the combat zone. Commander Neil stood on the bridge, watching the stars pass by. The battle for peace had been long and hard. The humans had entered a war that was not theirs, yet their courage and wisdom had changed everything. The alien fleets, once fierce enemies, now spoke with cautious hope. The fragile ceasefire was holding. Leaders from the Threx and Veller worked to rebuild trust and cooperation. The Corn watched closely, ready to intervene if needed. Neil thought about all that had happened. The humans had been strangers in a strange war. They had no reason to fight, but they chose to help. Their strength was not only in weapons or ships, but in their will to protect and unite. On the bridge, Leah smiled. "Commander, we have messages from both the Threx and Veller. They want to thank us for everything." Neil nodded. "It is good to hear. We planted the seed of hope." The crew gathered to celebrate their success, but Neil reminded them that peace was a journey, not a destination. As the Valor continued its path, new challenges awaited. The galaxy was vast, and humans were becoming known beyond their home world. Their reputation as brave and wise warriors was growing. One day, a message arrived from the Corn Fleet commander. "Commander Neil, your efforts have shown that peace is possible. The galaxy watches you. We invite humans to join the Galactic Council." Neil was surprised. The Galactic Council was a group of many species working together for peace and progress. He called his officers. "This is a new beginning. Humanity has a chance to be part of something greater." The crew cheered quietly, proud of their place in the stars. As the Valor approached Earth, Neil reflected on the journey. Humans had crossed into danger and found strength in courage and cooperation. He looked out at the blue planet below. It was home, but now humans had a place among the stars. Neil spoke softly. "We are not just survivors of war. We are builders of peace. The story of the Valor was only the beginning. Humans would continue to explore, protect, and unite. The stars held endless possibilities, and humanity was ready.